God, the 90s were great. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Anime Club After Dark, the podcast that delves into all things anime, manga, and otaku culture related. I'm your host, Alex, but you can call me Senpai, and joining me tonight, we have our poser extraordinaire, Nitai.
I pose and clap ass cheeks.
You almost fucked that one up.
I think I did fuck that one up.
Oh my god, Nitai. This is what I get for having... No, this is what we get for having you on when you're still sick.
I really thought to myself, oh, maybe I'll just quote something from the show. Nah, let's fucking just make a ass joke. That's it. I'm done.
This is what happens when you get corona. I mean, what?
What's that? He's got corona!
You! But no, Nitai and I have gotten together tonight to do one simple thing, and that is to do a spoiler cast for the spring 2020 anime Sing Yesterday for Me.
For me?
Now, for me.
Oh.
Or you. If we're not even drunk, that's the scary thing.
Yeah, I was
about
to say, we're not drunk.
So being that this is a spoiler cast, yes, we may and probably will spoil anything and everything there is to say about Sing Yesterday for Me. So I do want to start out with a little bit of background information, very little bit, and just say that this is based on a manga by Kei Tomei that ran for 11 volumes between 1997 and 2015. That means this manga started serialization when I was 7 years old.
Dude, that manga started serialization when I was born.
Oh, yeah, you were born in 97, weren't you?
Yeah, I'm 97.
Wow. So you are as old as this manga.
It was a very good year.
Apparently. And the anime adaptation that was done in spring 2020 was done by the anime studio Doga Kobo, which you and I have talked about this. Doga Kobo has kind of become like a dark horse studio, really. They did New Game, which is something that I personally loved as a slice of life. And they did a really great job with the adaptation, considering it was an adaptation of a 4-panel comedy manga. They also did Gabriel Dropout, which, you know, everyone loves for the fucking memes.
And you unironically love.
I unironically love it because of Satanya. She's literally a queen. Fuck off. But they also have done stuff like Plastic Memories, which is really good. And they did Senko-san, which was adorable as heck.
It's weird because and again, I'm way out of my field when it comes to Doga Kobo because this is the first show by them I've watched, so I honestly don't know much about it, but for the longest time it felt like they made just very solid and quality slice of life shows, and so it was very interesting like to go through the listings of shows coming out this season and see this show with very mature characters and very subtle and sort of, I guess a calm art style, right? So yeah,
definitely understated art style.
Yeah,
by the way, something else that Doga Kobo did that everyone should go watch is Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun. That is amazing.
I think that's like their most popular show by far.
I think it probably is. I didn't go look up the numbers on Mal before we started, but I would not be surprised if that was. But yeah, like I've said this, and I think you agree with me. Like this is kind of it's like an underdog studio. You never really think about them until they come out with something, and then they come out with something, and it's either really adorable or really funny or just really good.
Yeah.
Which is the case with Sing Yesterday for Me. Although, as you'll see as we start talking about this, it's a very qualified good because there are things about this that I think don't like a lot. And things that we think could have been done a lot better.
Yeah, I mean...
So one thing I do want to talk... Oh, go ahead.
No, just because I just finished the show like a few minutes ago. I held off watching the finale also because I was sick, but also just wanted to watch it right before we discuss it. And so opinions are still forming in the air, you could say.
No, I don't think it was a bad thing. I mean, the last thing you need to do is watch this and have a fever dream about it.
Oh God, no! Oh, no.
But one thing I do want to point out, so when this was first announced and right as it started airing, there was a huge confusion about the number of episodes that it was going to have. So
Yes.
Apparently it was always slated to have 12 episodes with 6 shorts that aren't entirely related to the storyline in so much as, it's pushing the story
They were
along.
called extras, so I
yeah.
would assume it's pretty much just an extra scene or two, whatever. We haven't watched it.
No, I haven't watched it either. I don't even know where you get them. I'm probably thinking the high seas at this point. Thank you, Crunchyroll.
Yeah, most likely.
Yeah, thanks, Crunchyroll, for that. But so originally it was thought that it was going to have 18 episodes, which I thought great, because one of the things that I've said for many years that anime really needs to get away from this tethering that it has to this 12 or multiple of 12 or 13 episodes.
Just a seasonal race, you could say. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even things that go for longer than a season tend to go in multiples of either 12 or 13, and I really think that it would behoove anime to get away from this. I know it's to help TV stations and stuff schedule, but my God, you can't tell every story in a multiple of 12 or 13 episodes.
Yeah, I would have loved if this show would have actually been 18 episodes, but it is what it is. I mean,
and as we found out by the end, it probably could have used those 18
most
episodes.
Most likely. But I do, and I told you this right before we started recording. I do wonder if our sort of response to the ending and how it concluded would have changed if we, from the get-go, actually realized it is going to be just 12 episodes. But we'll see. We'll talk about it later.
It's an interesting thing to think about, and we will talk about it. Something I do want to talk about from the outset, and it's something that you and I absolutely love, is the soundtrack to this anime.
Yes.
Oh my God, it's like
chill.
The score in general is very chill. It uses a lot of fuck, the word has just left me. I hate getting old, Natai. It sucks. Don't ever get old.
Sure.
Fucking.
Acoustic.
No,
okay.
it uses a lot of acoustic. That's God. Fuck, I hate being 30s. It uses a lot of acoustic instruments for its score, and it like you say, it's very chill. It's very down to earth, and it's very good to listen to. Like it's something I would want. It's stuff I would want to listen to while like reading or doing work.
And it's not overbearing.
No, it's very understated in the scenes where it's used. And there is a very obvious lack of an OP throughout the entire run of the show.
Which was funny because for the life... I remember like when I watched the first episode, there is an opening. Okay, next week. Next week comes. Yeah. Still no opening. Nope. Okay, nope. Let's wait for the next week. Still no opening. Okay, I guess we're doing this. But I kind of like it.
It harkens back to ReZero, doesn't it?
More from the new world, but whatever.
Yeah.
But I kind of like it. It's sort of, I don't know, just give the show even more time to do its thing, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it needed as much time as possible.
Yeah.
But something also to note is the ED. The ED changed. There were 3 EDs actually over the course of this, and
all
then
of them
the last ED is essentially a title drop.
Yeah, which is pretty sweet. I really enjoy what they did with the last ED in terms of the song.
Yeah, and something else that was cool is that the art and the animation for the ED was changing every single episode. I'd say the one that I love visually the most was the one with the arcade cabinet. The
second ED? Yeah, it's nice. Yeah. It's really wonderful.
There's something about that arcade cabinet I find very endearing and quaint. It was just weird. Oh, something else that I found interesting, and this is actually kind of a good lead into what we're going to talk about next. It took me a while to figure out that this doesn't take place in the modern day.
Yeah, so like in the first episode, I sort of got it, but then as you go along, you suddenly realize, wait, why don't they call each other on their cell phones? Oh, right, it's not.
Yeah, it was when I realized that absolutely no one had a cell phone. I'm like, oh. This takes place in the mid-90s.
Which is great. I really like it's not in your face about it. Just, a time and place.
Which is something they could have easily done. They could have made this set in the modern day and kept a lot of the same, story. It would have been weird,
but
for some of those scenes where they have to talk on phones that are on cords.
A lot of the story would break the moment they have cell phones, because there's a lot of tension that, I mean, there's even like an episode where I think Rico even says like, "Oh, you didn't call me," or something like that. Then the moment she gets to her apartment, she calls him or whatever. You have that sort of dynamic of people waiting for other people to call them.
God, the 90s were great.
Yeah,
the time before cell phones. What a great time to be alive. Yeah, I thought that was it was interesting, and it took me a couple episodes to notice that. And I think the first time I really noticed it, like, I noticed that no one had cell phones, but I also noticed everyone's using phones on cords.
Nani? What is this?
Nani? Yeah, and I guess that kind of leads us into the actual story of
before that, just because we talked about the setting, do we want to talk real quick, because I really adore the art style and the background art of the show. Do we want to mention it real quick?
Absolutely, go ahead.
We talk about understated, and it's so much. I mean, like, the backgrounds art is this, like, sort of fading quality to some of them, where it just, it doesn't feel too in your face about it, and the character design themselves feel a bit rough around the edges, and it's not the I guess modern anime sensibility of how a character should look. It
feels like some of the scenes were ripped straight out of a manga panel, just colored.
It just feels so. I mean, this is a word I'm sure we'll use a lot in this episode. It feels so grounded, right?
Yes, it does. I will say one thing that the art style itself does kind of remind me of a little bit is Banana Fish.
Okay.
I don't know. Did you ever watch that?
I saw some clips of it, but I haven't watched the show.
Okay, well, you definitely should. It's pretty good. But that's also I wanted to bring up. Yeah, well, maybe. But I also bring that up because that's an example of an anime where they actually took a story which takes place way earlier than it does, or than modern day, and actually sets it in modern day, where instead of everyone using payphones, they're using cell phones.
I don't know if you remember, but Parasite also did this, where it modernized the story to the current days.
That's true. I'd forgotten about that. You're right. They did.
Anyway.
Yes. So I guess the best way to actually talk about the story is talk about the characters, because this is 100% a very character-driven story.
Yes, very much so.
I mean, there is a lot of things that happen because of mere coincidence, but it is the plot itself is driven along solely by the strength of the characters.
Yeah.
Mostly by the strength of the motivations, of which there are very little, of the main character.
Yeah, so it's funny because, like, from the synopsis of it already set itself up as like something like different. I think you and I would agree on it. It's like about this guy who's he graduated from college, right?
Yes.
So Rico graduated from college, and he now works a part-time job at a convenience store, and you watch this first episode go, and you see this guy just at this convenience store, just going through the motions, I guess, and from the get-go, it just it feels so real, because this guy just not sure what he wants to do with his life. He works at a convenience store, then goes home, and not much else. Which is
he doesn't seem to have a lot of goals.
Yeah, which is very surprising because goals is a major thing for anime protagonists.
Well, that and the power of friendship.
We don't talk about that.
But yeah, it is, but it's also that, again, that's something that's very grounded and very realistic, that there's a lot of people out there who graduate college and then they're like, what the fuck do I do now? Like, even myself a little bit, I was guilty of this because I was always told growing up, just, finish high school, go to college, finish high school, go to college. And I finished college and I'm like, well,
what now?
Now what?
I mean,
No one ever said what to do after college.
I mean, same. I mean, the moment I watched that, it got me instantly because same. I'm about to leave the army in about a month actually, and after that, I have sort of like I know what I want to do. I guess I want to get a job, but aside from that, I don't know what I want to fucking do with my life. So
You want to make millions talking about anime.
easy. Let's open an OnlyFans. No.
Whoa, Natai.
And yeah, it really surprised me. But at the same time, it's not like he's not dumb or anything. He's not like just a clueless guy, right? He's just kind of lost.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, especially after graduating high school, can relate to that.
Yeah.
I don't know how prevalent that is in like Asian and particularly Japanese cultures, but I can tell you, having been through it, it's very prevalent in Western cultures, especially here in America.
Yeah, I mean, here we have a very like to some extent here in Israel as well. I mean, you finish high school, you go to the army for a certain amount of time. After that you probably get ready to maybe study something in university and who knows what else. It's like that's generally the direction people take, but I don't know. No clue what I'm gonna do. Yeah.
But then into the life of this wayward soul come two women. Although one of them is someone he used to know very, very well, that being Shinako.
Yes. So Shinako was his college crush.
Yeah, but they were just really good friends, and he never really acted on it.
Yeah, he never acted on it. I love that from the get-go. So the first episode ends pretty much with him confessing to her and she rejecting him. What did you think of that?
Which is something else a lot of people can relate to.
Oof.
You watch that and like this is what we call a big oof moment.
Ooh, indeed, that was.
I thought it was very realistic. I mean, I've been rejected before. I know, shocking.
Yeah. I love how he just says, "I'm so done with life right now." Like, yeah, buddy.
Which is exactly how a lot of people feel after getting rejected. Although I will say she lets him down maturely.
Yeah, I mean that's also like, I mean, again, we'll probably talk about a bit later on, but like the maturity, people just talking to each other.
Yeah.
But anyway,
and she kind of brings it up later, and I'm sure we'll talk about it. Like, they started out as friends in high school and in college.
Yeah.
And when you're looking for a friendship, you want people who are very similar to you because that's what makes a good friendship. That doesn't always make for a good romance.
Exactly.
As much as you may think it does, it doesn't always.
Yeah.
Like if you're too similar, and that's something that's brought up later in the story, like being too similar can be a huge detriment to a relationship.
But it's interesting how he sort of like, so the first episode comes and go, and he pretty much does it just to get some closure, which I want to say is probably like that's the most real thing I got out of that first episode when it aired. I was like, that feeling of just wanting to have that conversation just for the sake of closure. It's something that not a lot of people talk about in terms of, you're after this one person you want to be in a relationship with, and sometimes it's actually probably the most mature thing to just let it go if you see that it's not gonna happen. But that longing for closure is something that you see not only in relationship but just in life in general. People just want that closure. So it was interesting to see that like mirrored,
and
I guess.
It's worth mentioning that we said how the main character Rikuo is like lost and doesn't know what to do in a different yet kind of similar way. So is Shinako.
Yeah,
because she's trying to move on from it still after multiple years, trying to move on from having her boyfriend. Were they? I can't remember if it
they were never really a couple, but she was in love with him.
She was clearly she was in love with him because she can't get over his death.
Yeah.
Did they ever say what he died of? Because I just assume it was cancer.
They alluded to a type of illness, but they never said.
I just kind of assume
specific.
it was cancer.
Yeah, I suppose it was, but they never said anything specific.
But yeah, I mean, and I cannot even. I've never had a crush or a partner die on me. I can't imagine what that's like. And I assume it would take some time to get over. But she's never gotten over it. She's never even tried to get over it. And she's slowly like moved those feelings that she had for the guy that she had a crush on over to his younger brother who is still alive,
who is much younger than her,
who is not much younger, but definitely younger, still in high school,
near the end of high school.
I want to say, don't do this. If you're out there and you're thinking about this, don't do this. This is not good. This is not healthy.
Also, whatever the fuck is stuck to his ear, that's an interesting choice for his character design.
Oh, yes. He's got a fucking he's got a clothespin through his ear.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. How fucking edgy are you? I bet he listens to fucking Linkin Park on repeat.
I was about to say that's the most anime thing about the show, but we still haven't gotten to that character.
Oh, well, now that you said it, we have to. And then the second girl that comes into Rikuo's life, I want to call her Ryuko for some reason. I don't know why. But the second girl that comes into his life is Haru. Haru is best girl. I don't care what the fuck anyone says. I know she's not played by Kana Hanazawa, who is the absolute queen of all anime.
I know. Although her voice actress is amazing.
Oh, yes. Yeah, well, I mean, her voice actress is Yumi.
The entire voice
Yumoto.
cast is incredible in this show.
Yes, I mean, her voice actress is the same one that did Rika Takarada in Gridman. How can she not be great?
Obviously. But yeah, Haru is great. I mean, she has a pet crow, so...
Yes.
That's something.
Whose name is Kansuke.
Yeah.
And is voiced by Ryoko Maekawa. For those out there who are...
Wait, are you trolling me? What?
No, the crow actually has a voice.
I did not know it's an actual person. I thought it just, stock sound or something.
Oh no. Oh, wow. It's an actual person.
My bad. Now I feel really bad. but as the biggest fan of Haru, go ahead, talk about Haru for a second.
Haru is great because she's everything I want in a partner. She's eternally optimistic, and even though she accepts that there are things that are sad, she doesn't let them get her down too long.
Yeah.
That's a really bad way to put it, so ineloquently said, but...
No, but it is. I mean, she doesn't let things get her down, and she has a very clear goal in mind, and she just wants to achieve it. And that's the thing. This show, like... I'm really happy with how this show deals with a lot of its themes and subject matter or whatever, but I'm still torn how I feel about how he deals with unrequited love, right? Because most of the show, also in case it wasn't clear, most of the show is pretty much is a quadruple love,
a love quadruple.
Yeah, that between Ro, Rikuo, Haru, and Shinako. And
yes.
So, obviously, someone is about to get hurt at a certain point in the show, for obvious reasons. And it just... Because from the get-go, the odds are not in Haru's favor, right? Because...
Clearly, she's the most immature of all three of them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, Ro is also quite immature to some extent. But
at least he has a goal.
I think
he has a goal. He wants to be an artist.
I think he is more immature than Haru in terms of how he deals with the situation, because he sometimes lashes out and has these outbursts, as opposed to
true.
Haru, which sort of I mean, it could be seen as a bad way to handle it, but she just bottles up her emotion and just, kind of deals with it, I guess. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, neither one are great ways to deal with your emotions.
But while I was watching the show, for the longest time, I felt, okay, I see Riku and Shinko getting along, getting together, and that's like, and there's this very slow build up of their relationship, not in terms of like them as a couple, but them as friends, for a good part of the show. And
that, because that's what they decided to do.
Yeah.
They decided to just be friends,
Yeah.
which is, I mean, it's absolutely fine. Like,
yeah,
sometimes you're
true.
just not, you're not gonna be partners as much as you may have a crush on someone.
Very true.
It's not gonna happen.
Very true, I agree. But it felt like but in Rikuo's mind, he saw it as like he wanted to like get into a relationship with her, at least for the majority of the show. And this whole time, like, I'm looking at Haru and I'm thinking to myself, she's just gonna get hurt because she's coming to this. I mean, she claims she understands that she might not have a chance, but she still tries and tries, and it just, I was scared for the life of me that it's gonna end with her being super hurt about it. But it's like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, I just don't know how I feel about it.
I was scared that it would end with her on the other end of a rope, but
Oh God. No.
I'm just being honest. That's what I thought.
There was this one cliffhanger that, God damn it! There was this one episode that ended with like fucking thud that happens in her like apartment.
Oh yeah,
And
it's
like,
thought, oh, it's over. It's over.
Yeah,
Throw in the towel. It's over.
I thought that was so weird. What the fuck happened? And then it's like, oh, okay, everything's fine. Someone just
broke into her house.
Yeah, it's okay. But it's just that feeling of she's not being
just say
reasonable,
something about that though?
Yeah,
I had a second thought when that happened toward the end. I thought,
the crow.
oh bitch, this bitch is about to guilt trip this guy into being with him.
Oh, when he showed up at her apartment.
When he showed, well, yeah, I thought Haru is gonna guilt trip Rikuo into like protecting her.
I mean, she is capable of that.
That's exactly what I thought. And there was a part of me that's like, she staged this whole fucking thing, didn't she?
But what do you think about that? I mean, I think it applies both to Haru and Ru of having this like sort of like them really wanting to be in a relationship with these people, but not like getting the hint and just letting it go, right?
Yeah, moving on.
Yeah, and moving on.
It's like the socially awkward person that can't take the hint that the girl's not interested in you.
Yeah. I mean, and in the end, maybe it worked out for them, I guess. But just while watching the show, I kept thinking about that.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I wonder what you think of it.
I mean, I guess I can see that. Yeah, Ro and Haru are probably both just as emotionally immature as each other, but I don't know. Haru just displays her emotional immaturity so outwardly, whereas Ro just internalizes all of it.
I think it's the other way around, honestly, because Haru looks at it and goes, I mean, I think it's the other way around. I mean, Haru is very outgoing and fun and like and loud and obnoxious and all these wonderful things.
That's kind of what I mean, though. That's kind of what I mean, that she has that big ball of, it's like a big ball of energy.
Yeah.
And she doesn't know when to turn it off.
But when it goes to like, like when it comes to like talking about her feelings and confronting Rikuo about how he feels about her and Shinako, she acts very maturely. But when you look at Ro, he seems like a very like quiet and like just a chill person. But when it comes to like his feelings towards Shinako and to that extent how he feels about Rikuo, he's acting like a brat to some extent.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
By the end,
having the outburst. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah. That's what. Yeah, you're right. That's what I'm saying.
I do have a question for you.
Sure.
There is an episode at around the midpoint of the run of this show where an old classmate of Rikuo's just randomly shows up at his apartment and just stays with him for a few days. That
Wait,
was
are you
weird.
talking about Minato or his ex?
His ex.
That was wonderful.
I mean, it kind of came out of left field, but it worked out really well. I mean, it played off really well.
I love that, A, because I really like her character, and B, because it led to one of the best moments in the show. When both Shineko and Haru are like coming to visit Rikuo because he was sick, and his ex, she opens the door. It's like, hey, what's up?
Hey,
And
bitch, what's up?
the look on their face is the best.
When they're looking at each other like, what do we do now? Well, what's the right thing to do in this situation? I'm lost.
Haru, let's go.
Haru, let's go. That was pretty great.
And also, I love that because it just one of the. I just love that because it gives Rico. It makes it, to me, the moment I saw that episode, I liked Rico so much as a character because it just felt like he's so much more of a person, I guess, in terms of, oh, he was in a relationship before. It's like, he is awkward to some extent, but it's not like he is, fucking classic anime protagonist who's like, touching hands? Oh,
yeah. Oh my god, so lewd.
So,
yeah, well,
it's great.
It's another thing. It's one of those relatability things because there's a lot of people out there, myself included, and you, who have exes, and I can't say this is this way for everybody, but for me, a lot of my relationships have ended rather amicably, where we've kind of stayed friends afterwards, and we've kept in touch, and it's just we both came to the realization, or well, one of us or both of us came to the realization that this isn't really going to be great going forward for us. So let's like end this before we get too hurt. And it's like, okay, and you can stay friends after something like that, and that's something that happens, and it's nice to see. It's something that's, again, very grounded and realistic about this. I mean, not every relationship ends like that. Some relationships end absolutely horribly. But, I mean, for a lot of relationships, you just, both or one of you will come to the realization that this ain't great. We'd be better as friends.
Both of you get it, and it's okay. And it's just okay. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
Not like this high school romance bullshit that we get so often in anime. It's like, oh, we're going to touch hands. Oh, my God.
It was just this, and again, this entire show just really refreshing,
Yeah. And it's just another thing that was kind of, I mean, her showing up randomly kind of came out of left field, but I liked the way it turned out.
Also, I like that it was contained to one episode.
Yeah, I was thinking like, oh my god, is he gonna get 3 girls after his dick now?
I was worried that's what's gonna happen, but no.
It's like some accidental harem he's gonna just stumble his way into, like every harem anime protagonist ever.
There were a few moments I thought it was, oh, please don't be a fucking harem, please. And it's like, okay.
Could you? How tragic.
Man.
Oh man. Also, the cool thing at about that same time is when Rikuro's kind of starting to get his life into focus a little bit. That's where he gets the part-time job at
That's so fucking rewarding to watch that, like, come through.
Yeah, he gets the part-time job at the gallery, and then through his work at the gallery, he gets a recommendation to actually go work at a photography studio and become a professional photographer, which is something he has been doing up until this point as sort of a side hobby. I mean, he never really got paid for it. He would just go take pictures of stuff, and people thought it was good.
And I love like the portrayal of his attitude towards it, because there's a moment where he even has a conversation with his colleague about it. It's like, and he's talking about, hey, can I lend your camera? And his colleague is like, why don't you buy yourself a camera? He said, well, I thought about it, and I don't really think if I want to, like, go to school because it costs money. And they said, well, but if you like it, you should go to school and study and get better. It's not just gonna come easy, Just go and, like, invest in it and get better. And, like, and then he takes the job more seriously, and he, like, actually does more with it. And, he leaves the convenience store and just very subtly seeing how this person, like, takes his life and just trying to put some order in it,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It is. It's like you say. It's very rewarding to watch because it actually evolves over several episodes.
Yeah.
And he's not immediately great at it either. You actually watch him kind of become better and better at it, and that's something I didn't realize either until I got probably to maybe 3 episodes before the end. Is that the sense of time that's passing in this anime isn't really apparent until the end. Like, you think that maybe a couple months have passed, but at least a year has passed from the first episode to the last.
Now that I think about it, like, I mean, there is, like, the New Year's Eve and stuff, but I for the life of me, I can't remember at what time of year does the show start, and it's, like, maybe on a rewatch, like, when I'll pay more attention to that, I'll pick up on, like, certain times of the year where stuff happens, but, yeah, for me as well, I wasn't too... aware of which time of year was it.
Yeah. Well, they have to go through at least 2 semesters of a school year because you see Shineko's students or her class graduate twice.
Yeah, true.
So there at least 2 semesters of a school year pass.
What do you think of we're talking about Riku, how he starts as like, you know, he graduated and then he works at a convenience store and then he slowly but surely gets his life in order. What do you think of how Haru is a high school dropout, actually?
I mean,
what do you think about that?
Finish school, kids. I mean, I wouldn't recommend. Genuinely, that's my best. That's the best thing I can say about it.
I think both of us would recommend to finish school, but it's. I mean, how many characters have we seen in anime that just blatantly I dropped out of school?
There's a part of me that wonders if that's like a huge taboo in Japanese culture, because I hate to delve into stereotypes, but you know,
true,
Asians are known as like studious people.
True. I don't know, but she is a very free spirit, so it kind of, I don't know.
It makes sense.
It makes sense, exactly.
I can tell you that had I actually dropped out of school, I would not have a cozy relationship with my parents like she does, or her mother at least.
Oh man, her parents are the best. In the final episode as well, I just respect.
Yes, because I'd got my ass beat if I'd come home and said I dropped out. And then I would have had to pack all my shit up and get the fuck out.
I really like her workplace in the... is it both a bar and a cafe? Milk
okay,
bar?
So yeah, the milk bar. I thought it was kind of weird too, because I've seen this concept a couple of times in anime now, where there'll be a bar. It'll be like a bar, and there may be also a restaurant attached to it as well. But during the day, like, you know, for lunch and, well, maybe even breakfast as well, they won't serve alcohol at all. And instead, they'll serve things like milk and coffee and, you know, tea perhaps. But during the day, and in fact, or during the night, is usually as soon as the sun goes down is when they start serving alcohol, and it turns into just like a regular bar. I thought that was just like an anime thing. Apparently, this is somewhat of a common thing in a lot of Japanese cities. It's an interesting concept, I guess. Although as a functioning alcoholic, I'm like, give me the fucking booze.
I wouldn't know. One day, once you reach the Holy Land of Nippon, we'll know.
You would absolutely know about alcohol.
No, I'm talking about just in generally Japan. I have no idea. Like,
I mean, I don't know exactly how prominent it is, but I did look it up. And
wait, ask the question again. I might have zoned out.
I was like, no, the alcohol thing. I know you understand because you're fucking drunk just like me. But
again, I totally zoned out, so I might have not heard the question.
No, it wasn't really a question. It's like the whole milk bar thing concept where they serve coffee, tea, milk during the day, and it's an actual bar at night. Like,
I mean, it sounds good to me.
I mean, yeah, it's fine, but I don't have a problem with it. But I don't know if it's like a hugely prominent thing in Japan, but I do know it is a thing that exists. But since I had seen it a few times in anime, I thought, is this just an anime thing or is it real?
I stand by my original statement that honestly I have no idea what's up in Japan because I haven't been there.
I mean, I just found out a few weeks ago that like Calorie Mate was a real thing, and I'd only ever seen that in anime.
All right, let's not go down that rabbit hole.
kids, Mr. Donut is real too.
So, but I think you would agree with me that this show was just relatable as fuck throughout, right?
Pretty much. It's very nuanced, especially for an anime romance. Much in the same way as Wotakoi was, which is another romance anime about adults trying to find love, that I highly, highly recommend to anyone out there who hasn't seen it.
I think I know which opening you're talking about. So yeah.
Yeah, Wotakoi has a phenomenal OP.
That's the only thing I know of the show. Anyway,
you should definitely watch it. Anyone out there listening to this that hasn't watched Wotakoi or Love is Hard for Otaku.
Side note: I was planning on watching it with my ex, but then we broke up, so just didn't happen yet.
What a great reason to watch it now.
True, very true.
Are you over her yet?
Oh, obviously, dude. Anyway, what was I about to say?
I was just gonna say, it is a little melodramatic at points. But
yeah, that was my question. Do you feel like? Because I am of the belief that no, but do you feel like it is like a big melodrama?
I wouldn't say that overall. I would say in certain parts it definitely is. Especially parts where Haru, Shinako, and Rikuo are in scenes together. It does seem a little melodramatic.
The only moments I felt were a bit melodramatic were scenes between Ro and Shinako.
Yeah, there were a couple of those well.
Those felt really... I don't know. And again, maybe it comes back to just Ro being a much more like his outbursts of emotion being more, just...
I will say the scenes between those two where it's definitely not melodramatic are the scenes where they're talking about Ro's brother who died. Those are very real and very emotional scenes, and you feel that shit. Like you feel that there's an immense hole in Shinako's heart.
And even when it's like Shinako with Riko, you still feel her like that sort of weight she carries with her. It's like even when she does get close to Riko, she's like, "I'm still not ready." And he understands, he gets it, but. Yeah, it's something. It's something you feel throughout the season with her.
I mean, he waited longer than I would have for someone, but yes.
True. I mean, you could easily criticize him for still sticking with her for that long. I wouldn't go that far. But I think, honestly, I sort of get it because, say what you will, but if I was in his shoes, I would still, stick with her. Not even in terms of, in terms of a relationship, just being there for her as a friend.
Yeah. But, I definitely agree that there are parts where it's melodramatic, but I wouldn't say overall it is. No, I agree. I wouldn't say it's melodramatic.
Also... Again, I don't know if it's melodramatic or not. It's just mainly the dynamic between Haru and Riko and Ro and Shinako. That whole dynamic of you have this, at least at the time, unrequited love, and it seems so obvious, and them just not letting it go. And again, maybe I was just wrong to think that, but for the majority of the show, I was like. It was like, man, and from experience, just let it go, dude. You're not gonna end up happy from this.
You say it's obvious, but you say that as a viewer of this story. One thing that you and I should be and anyone really listening to this should be very well aware of is that if love were easy to come across, everyone would be able to find it very easily.
Yeah, but and again, you're very correct in saying, we are the viewers of this story. That's right. But still, and maybe I am tainted by my history of these types of situation. Could be, but I'm watching it and thinking to myself I don't know. Just even though it's hard and it's super fucking hard. In the last episode, I love this moment with Haru where she's like, and it's pretty much she giving up on Riko, right? Yeah. Because she realized that he's probably in a relationship with Shinako. And she's sort of coming to terms with, yeah, I guess I should have seen this coming, but why do I still feel shitty about it? And it's like, yeah, I mean, obviously you will feel shitty about it, but it's just a matter
Yeah.
of like the faster you get out of it, the quicker you'll be able to just, move forward and get on with your life and just feel better about yourself.
Yeah.
And again, then the ending comes and things happen differently. So I ended up being wrong, but you know that thinking still might apply to like other people who are going through this. I don't know.
Yeah, I completely agree. But since we've mentioned the ending, I think we should definitely talk about it.
Yeah, let's talk about it for a second.
I think this is where it kind of falls flat on its face a little bit. Now I know you kind of disagree with that.
I wouldn't go that far. That's the thing. It's
one thing I think you and I can definitely agree on. The story is 100% rushed.
yes. I wish there were a few more episodes.
It feels like they tried to stuff like 25 chapters or something into the last last episode and a half.
Yeah.
I feel like it needed
It just
to run
ends so quickly.
Yeah, it does. It ends so abruptly, which is a great shame, because for all the nuance and all of the maturity and relatability and groundedness which we've talked about, it just comes to a fucking screeching halt with episode 12. And as we said before, if it had actually had the 18 episodes that we all thought it was going to have at the beginning, I think this all could have been avoided. I think it tells a story the story that's being told could be told way better in something, well, obviously more than 12 episodes.
But it's weird because while watching, like, it's hard to cut you off, but while watching this episode, and again, I just watched it, and like every emotional beat, I felt like it hit its mark. Every scene I felt was on point. The conclusion to like every relationship and like where it all ended up being, I was satisfied with. I was happy with. And especially that one scene with Shinko and Ruko on the bench just talking to each other. Incredible. Yeah. I loved every second of it. But it feels like, but once it just ended, I felt it does feel rushed, but considering how much, I guess, it seems like they really didn't have a choice. So considering that, I do feel like they ended it as well as they could have. Right.
Yeah, I feel like maybe budget constraints may have had a role to play in this.
Maybe they just couldn't get even more episodes.
Maybe. Yeah. I will say one thing about the final episode. That crow turned into a literal wingman.
Dude, it's like that fucking scene on the bus. I couldn't stop laughing because my reaction was literally, of course. Of course this is how this would go.
Of course he's gonna get there, and he's not gonna see her because he just left.
She's about to leave to jump on the bus. He's about to leave. It's like I was getting anxious. Not gonna lie.
That crow though came through in a pinch.
Yeah, very much so.
I don't know. I have very very mixed feelings about how it ended. I really, because of how nuanced and mature the story was. I wanted it to be good. I really, really, really wanted it to be like all the way through good. And I think if they had just had a few more episodes to tell the story, it could have been so much better.
I agree.
It just comes to such an abrupt and grinding halt that it's very, very jarring.
Yeah, I don't know if like it is disappointing, but I don't think I can let that like sort of drag the entire experience down for me because. Yeah. Still, even though, and I mean, maybe in the future, I'll rewatch the show and I'll love it even more.
Yeah.
Because
maybe.
Yeah, there's a good chance. Maybe it won't hurt as much, like how just rushed the ending is, because you still have this solid and subtle and, as you said, nuanced and grounded drama of just people and their relationships with each other. It's so beautiful, dude.
And a great character-driven story. I mean, you could call it a romance. I stopped short of calling it a romance. I guess it's just a drama.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously a romance is a big part of it, but I like to think of it more as a drama than a romance. So if you're on our Discord server, one of the things I said upon finishing this a couple of days ago, or well, a couple of weeks ago by the time this comes out, was that number one, that people should go watch it, but number two, that I do fully intend to nominate this for Anime of the Year.
Yes,
at our awards episode next year. I still fully intend to do that, and there's a really good reason for it. While this obviously has a very flawed and rushed ending, and I say that as someone who genuinely loved the character of Haru, and I'm happy that she ended up with him.
That smile, man. That
smile. Her smile is something else. But I still fully intend to nominate this for Anime of the Year for the simple fact that I think this is the kind of story that anime needs more of. Like, yeah, all the great shonen stuff that we got now, the MHAs and, you know, Attack on Titan, yeah, great, fine. That's great for getting people into anime. This kind of stuff right here, these kind of stories is what's going to keep, you know, older otaku around. People like me who I'm fucking in my 30s now, like, I want more grounded, realistic anime. I don't want the fucking superpowers. I mean, they're still great, but I don't want it as much as I want this.
Yeah, I mean, it's just really refreshing to get this sort of very real story, you know? I mean, there's so many, like, conversations in this show where you're watching these characters interact with each other, and you just yeah, I get it. I really get it. I get why you're acting the way you do, what you're saying. It just, yeah, man. You know?
I completely agree, and I think that's a great place to end this discussion, Natsai.
Yeah, man.
To Sing Yesterday for me, it may have a flawed ending, but boy, it was an interesting ride.
I'm glad we took it. Was really
yeah.
fun. I'm gonna miss it. I'm gonna miss this.
I think this is a good example of the journey was more enjoyable than the destination.
It is criminally underwatched, but we'll see how time handles this one.
Yep. And with that, thank you all out there for dropping in to listen to us. We hope you enjoyed it because we always enjoy bringing this stuff to you. If you want to check out other episodes of the podcast, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, BitChute, SoundCloud, and Spotify. If you want to keep up what we're doing, you can join us on Discord, Facebook, Twitter, and our website. Shoot us an email if you have any questions or if you have ideas for topics you'd like for us to talk about in the future. Links to all these things will be down below in the description. As always, I have been your host, Alex, and I will see you next time. Say goodnight, Natai.
Good night, everybody.
Caw! Caw! Caw!